Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is a horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2025, directed by Justin Tipping, and this film was called Him. So Him is about this young kid who, as a child, idolises the best quarterback in the game in the United States, the NFL. So his father is always telling him, if you put in the effort, you can be that person you idolise, you can be the next best thing. So this kid has been obsessed with this ever since. Now he's a young adult, and now he is on the verge of becoming that next best thing. So his dream is about to be realised, but before that happens, he has an accident. Now this has the potential to really ruin him, but it is not going to get in his way, and so he's continuing to strive through this injury and to actually prove to everyone he still has what it takes. So he's given a lifeline by his idol, the person that he is obsessed with all of his life, and the idol says come to his getaway in the middle of nowhere and train with him and show him that he has what it takes to be the next quarterback. And so this is an opportunity too good to refuse, so our main character goes to this getaway, but unfortunately he realises that when things are too good to be true, usually they are, and they have really bad things attached to them, and this is what he's going to realise, but it may already be too late to turn his back. So what happens at that point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Him. This movie was really crazy. This movie didn't really feel as though it had a lot of control on the outside, and for that I can understand a lot of people hating this movie. This has been panned by critics. A lot of people on IMDb have been saying that this is one of the worst films of the year and that not many people liked it. So that was my initial anticipation coming into this movie, that I wasn't going to like it because the outside influence is very hard to stay away from. But this is a prime example of not allowing outside influence to determine whether or not you're going to watch a movie. So I wanted to watch this movie because I thought the trailer looked interesting. I'm a fan of Marlon Wayans. Tyreek Withers plays the main character. I'm not so familiar with him, but Marlon Wayans is a comedian. I actually find him quite funny, and so to have him in a serious type of film, I thought, all right, well that was enough of a draw card. And also, strangely, has Jim Jeffries, which is an Australian comedian. So a fellow Australian in a horror film, I thought, all right, this is something that I need to go and see. And also that it was presented by Jordan Peele. So a lot of people get confused that it wasn't actually directed by Jordan Peele, but Jordan Peele has his name to it. And so was that just going to be nothing but a selling point, or was this a movie that was going to actually appeal to me more than it appealed to a lot of people? And I actually found myself enjoying this film a lot more than I was expecting. So I can understand why people don't like this movie. This is a fever pitch nightmare. This is very, very strange and actually feels like a nightmare. When you're actually dreaming something, things don't really make sense, and so that loss of control gives you that sense of vulnerability, and the vulnerability can be a little bit too much at times. I thought as though there are issues to this movie that I'll go into a little bit later, but what I really liked about this film is that you have all the carnage, all of the nightmarish feel on the visual sense, but underneath you have that sense that I thought was actually very relatable, and that sense is, treating our idols like gods, treating our idols like someone that they aren't. Basically, they are everyday human beings, but once you actually put them on a pedestal, you strive out to be that person, and you'll do anything in your power and everything to really please that person. Even if that person might not be a very good person, you're going to go down that specific road in order to appeal to them, and it can lead to very dark consequences. And this movie was a cautionary tale of that. It was also a cautionary tale of selling your soul to the devil. And so that was something that not only is related to sports, but it could be anything. Silly influencers here on YouTube, they'll do really stupid things to get infamy. And so what lengths will you go to in order to get recognised, in order to get that attention, and how corruptive that can be. So it has a very corruptive sense about it. And this main character, I thought as though he was losing himself in that dream. But was that a realistic dream? Was that a dream that was necessarily going to make his life better? Or was it a dream that was going to crush him at the end? And so as the movie spirals, that nightmarish feel I thought had a lot more purpose to it. It wasn't just a silly film for being silly. It was actually a movie that actually made me feel as though, okay, I can relate to this character. I'm not an NFL footballer, but I've been involved with sports all my life, and I've become that person that I want to impress someone, so I'll do things, even if it makes someone else looking bad. That was what I used to do, and so I want to make myself feel as though I'm the best, and if it means stepping on toes, then so be it. And so that's the corruptive nature that can be. And so I thought to myself, all right, well, selling your soul to the devil is good for the fame, but unfortunately fame can only take you so far before you realise your shortcomings. And so this movie had that craziness to it, but I thought as though it had a very strong purpose, which I believe a lot of people are missing out on. And so each to their own. If you have conflicting sort of feelings about this movie, then please feel free to share them. But for me, I just really like the direction that this movie went. So Marlon Wayans is the best part of this film. He's absolutely crazy. There are some scenes that I thought were shocking in a way that took me by surprise, and that's what the film does. It takes you by surprise. It hits you with something that you weren't expecting, and so that vulnerability is intensified. Where is Justin Tipping taking us? Where is he actually going to, what is the resolution to all this anticipation? And so it's a very muddled sort of mess, and to have this type of film in a mainstream Hollywood arena takes a lot of courage. And so directors with courage are few and far between. It would have been very easy just to sell this film off Jordan Peele's name. And so this movie does have qualities of Jordan Peele. There are some really bizarre set pieces that reminded me of the vibe of Get Out and Us from Jordan Peele, but it doesn't go and copy Jordan Peele. It actually makes an entity of its own, but it does have the love behind, you know, these very good filmmakers. And so that's something that I liked. I hadn't heard of Justin Tipping before, but Jordan Peele encouraging these sorts of directors is what's needed. We lack creativity in this world, and whenever a very different style of film comes along, people will criticise it. Therefore, directors know what an audience wants, and what an audience wants is control. And when you have that sense of control, the vulnerability and the suspense is taken out, and that defeats the purpose of horror. So I thought this was a very, very impressive horror film. Not all of it worked, as I said, but the majority of the film, I just thought as though it was a pressure cooker in insanity, but underneath a cautionary tale about, you know, selling your soul in order to become a person that might not necessarily be all that good. So the situation spirals. I thought the end of the film was absolutely insane. I thought it was a little bit too silly for its own good right at the end. I thought as though there was a lot of obvious qualities in this movie as well. It was hitting you over the head with a sledgehammer. A little bit more subtly would have made the film a little bit more creepy. And I didn't really like Tyreek Weather's main character. I thought the performance was decent, but I just didn't gravitate to him. I gravitated to the generalisation of what this story is about, but I didn't gravitate to him on an individual base, because it didn't really have a lot of likeable qualities. But Marlon Wayans' performance, absolutely insane, but very likeable at the same time. And as the situation spirals, the corruptive nature of this film starts to set in, and it takes a very sinister turn as far as Marlon Wayans' character is concerned. But you always have that likability, which is something that I really, really enjoyed. So a lot of people hated this film, but for me, I really liked it. There are some shocking moments, especially one involving a ball machine. I'm not going to give anything away, but that took me by surprise, and that was when I realised this is a film that is going to pull the rug from under me. Just when you feel as though you're comfortable, it's going to take you off guard, and all of a sudden that vulnerability is going to come back. And so you always feel as though something is behind you. You don't know exactly what it is, but you enjoy the ride, and that's certainly something that I enjoyed. Overall, for this movie, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.